In this video, we're on question 16 here, and we are going to learn about the slope formula. Okay, now the slope formula is a specific formula that goes like this. M equals y2, okay, and notice the 2 is down on the bottom of the y, not on the top. It's not an exponent. It's called a subtext, and it just helps us identify, because notice we have two y's, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, this is the slope formula. Now, here's some things to know about the slope formula. M always represents slope. Okay, that's going to be something important for you to remember. M always represents slope, right? We just have to choose certain letters to represent certain things, and we use M to represent slope. Now, the way the slope formula is used is with 2 points. So if I'm given 2 points, then I call those points x1, comma, y1, right? So that's going to be like a point, like 3, comma 5. 3 will be x1, 5 will be y1. And then the next point is x2, comma, y2, right? So we have like a point 1 with an x and a y, and a point 2 with an x and a y. Okay, so that's how it's used. So here are kind of the steps to using it, and then I'm going to show you a couple examples. So the first thing you're going to do is label your 2 points. Okay, and again, just kind of like say this in your head a few times. x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, it's like the easiest part, but then it's also the part that people mess up the most. If you label the points correctly, you're most likely going to get the problem correct. Okay, but sometimes people either skip this or rush through it, and then it ends up wrong. Okay, once you've got those 4 values, x1, y1, x2, and y2, you just plug them into the formula. You plug the values into the formula, okay, and I'm going to show you all this in just a second. And then you notice in the formula, there's subtraction, okay, so you're going to subtract. Now, sometimes we're going to get into there being negative numbers there and minus and negative, and so sometimes that will mean adding. Okay, but we'll get there. And then finally, if it's possible to simplify, then of course you should simplify. All right, so let's take a look at an example here. So here's example number 1. Let's say I have 2 points, and what the slope formula gives me is what's the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. Now, I could get some graph paper, draw a graph these 2 points, and count the rise over run, but the slope formula allows me not to do that. All right, so let's follow the steps. Step 1, label points as x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so look, this is the first point, so this is going to be x1, y1. This point over here is x2, y2. Okay, so I've labeled my points, that's step 1. Now I'm going to plug my values into the formula. First, just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to copy down the formula. Okay, so there's the slope formula, right? I just copied it right from here. Something you should memorize though. Okay, so first is y2. So I go, where's y2? Okay, 13. Minus y1. Y1 is 7. Over x2, that's 6. Minus x1 is 2. Okay, so I've done step 2, I've plugged in the values. Now I'm going to subtract. 13 minus 7 is 6. And 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay, and now I'm on step 4, I'm going to simplify. I notice that both of these numbers are divisible by 2. So I can simplify this fraction. 6 over 4 is the same as 3 over 2. And so that is the slope of the line that goes through these 2 points. Let's take a look at another example. And if you're feeling like you think you might have it, a good thing to do right now would be to pause this video and try it, and then watch me go over it and make sure you didn't miss anything. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. That's step 1. I labeled the points. Step 2 is to plug the points into my formula. Okay, now I'm in the habit right now of writing my formula first. I would suggest that's a habit you keep for a little bit, and then as you feel very comfortable with the formula and have it memorized, maybe you don't need to anymore. Okay, but let's see, Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. Okay, so I plugged in. Now I'm ready to subtract. 6 minus 1 is 5. 2 minus 3, that's negative 1, right? Look, 3 minus 2 is 1, but if I take 3 away from 2, well, 3 is the bigger number here. So if I'm subtracting a bigger number, I'm going to end up with a negative. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Now when I simplify, okay, there's 2 things to consider here. Number 1, 5 divided by 1 is just 5. Okay, but the other thing to consider is this is a positive divided by a negative. So that becomes negative 5. Okay, so those are the 2 examples. You are going to go ahead and do 2 practice problems right now. And I'll even just have you copy down the points right now. Here's question 17. And here's question 18. So you're going to do this work right now and go ahead and give me the slopes for the lines that go through these 2 points and these 2 points. Okay,